We're live and totally switched around. Let's fix that. There we go.
Hey, Scott from Aristocom.com here.
And Seth from SethMarkwood.com.
Together, along with you, the three of us, we are Markwood Men's Breakfast Club, and excited to be the three of us this week. How you doing, boy?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm good. I've been waiting patiently for you so I could open this tobacco. I can't share it with you, but I can open it.
I can't
Pick,
share my tobacco with you either, but I'm smoking tobacco this week, which is great.
Picked up some fourth generation 1982, which
I feel like we've smoked that before, haven't we?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We've smoked several times, and the local tobacconist there on North Main Street near the chicken wing place, they have a pretty regular supply of it. It's reasonably priced. Right now, all the online companies are selling it for under $9 a tin. Now that's an ounce and a half, and you can buy a bunch of Lane tobacco for that price. But anyway, it's good. I like it. And what I like most about it at this place, it's not ridiculously wet. So
I know that is a problem.
Smoke it right out of the tin.
Yeah. Well, this evening I am smoking what little is left of, not going to happen, leprechaun weed.
Oh, really?
Very little
Oh, my
left.
Goodness.
I was enjoying this the other night. So those of you joining us, clearly I am not in our bonus room. I am downstairs of the bonus room. Decided to set up a little picnic table here in front of the garage door and enjoy a smoke within reach of the Wi-Fi, which is right above me. We did this the other night for a game night. There was just a beautiful thunderstorm, and we've been having weekly game night with my wife's family, and she and I decided this is just too beautiful to miss out, and so we sat right here in front of the open garage door and played games over the computer. It was just great, and enjoyed well about half of what was left of this. So this is a question again came up. This is leprechaun weed. This was a home blend submitted for Tobacco Advent. I want to say this year, maybe last year even. And I really like it. It's I would say an aromatic blend. And I'm sure that if you go to that Tobacco Advent video, you find the recipe.
The goal was to replicate Hobbit's weed from
over the shelf stuff you can actually
place
get.
Out in Denver that's gone already. What's it? Tewksbury.
Oh, Tewksbury, yeah.
So, hey, I have found the fuggliest looking Bic lighter on the planet.
The doo-doo lighter,
Isn't that disgusting?
Yeah, that's great.
It came in one of those 3-packs, and I was not happy with this, but it lights up.
Yeah. As of now, the Ohio Pipe Show is still on.
Really?
WKR Piper, when is that set to happen? And promote it for anyone that may not be local to the area.
Now it's in Columbus, Ohio, which is kind of sort of at the intersection of I-70 and I-77 that runs kind of diagonal from Cincinnati up towards Cleveland. So if you're heading through the Midwest, by the way, if you look at a map, the Midwest is way east of the middle of the country. It's actually quite a convenient place. Lots of things to do for your family. If you bring the family along and want them to stay busy for the day while you're at the show, there's tons of stuff to do. And when we did that one year, went with Boontar and his family, and our families got together and went to an amazing kids museum. And maybe that's something that ought to just be done is families start connecting and plan on doing that together while the smokers are at the pipe show.
That's a great idea. There's a little bit of an untapped market or maybe just untapped planning for a lot of the shows that are trying to draw in people from a distance, but maybe aren't in a locale that's obvious as to what families could do. Like going to a show in Orlando, it's a no-brainer. You bring your family and make an event of it.
Right.
Going to a show in Columbus, Ohio, maybe less so obvious for an out-of-towner.
Lots to do. There's actually more to do in Columbus than there is at the pipe show. And it's right there by Cornhenge too. The pipe show is. So you can go to Cornhenge. You can go get some ice cream at Grater's. It's actually a nice little spot that they do that. So a story I wanted to tell people, and in fact, I thought your mom was going to leave this with me. Somebody reached out to her on Facebook. She's part of a group from our high school. And each year, our high school back in the late 70s, early 80s would graduate about 800 people. So not a small high school. And then there's a couple groups on Facebook. There's one for just everybody who went to the school. And then there's some that are kind of segregated based on the year that folks graduated. Anyway, somebody reached out to her and said, "Hey, did you see the post over on the other group?" And she's like, "No." So she goes over, takes a look at it. Somebody had found a class ring from Beaver Creek High School. The side of the ring, the crest had 1979 on it, which was the year she graduated. And inside it had 3 initials, her initials. And so they apparently had gone through the yearbook and found the 4 or 5 people that possibly could have been, and were reaching out to them. Now, Jandy kind of said, "Look, I don't know if it's mine or not, but I know that I have no idea where my ring is." And so they contacted her off of the group and asked her a couple things. And among the things were, ring size, what color was your ring, what color was the stone. And of all the people that replied, they were all looking for gold rings. Hers was white gold, and it had whatever the stone is that is her stone, birthstone. And so the person who found it said, "It's yours," and mailed it to her. So they told her exactly where they found it, which is like at the corner of one of the busiest intersections in our old town. And the person who tracked Jandy down, it was her husband that found it. He was in the metal detecting, and he had been trying for a long time to try to find out whose ring it was. And then he died recently. And so she kind of made it her life's work to, "I'm going to get this ring back to whoever it belongs to," which she said would have made him thrilled. So pretty cool. So she's got her high school ring back.
So she lied and said it was her just in honor of the dead. It was hers.
Yeah, she said I was the cheap one in class that didn't get the gold ring.
Yeah, so she was over. Mom and Dad came over a week or two ago, and she was telling a story, and she said, "So, I don't really know if it's mine. There were only 4 people with the initials, and I was the only one with the stone on the ring. But I don't know if it's mine or not." I said, "Mom, has your initials. You're the only one that got that stone of the people with those initials. It's your ring." She's like, "Well, maybe." It's like, no. Stop.
If we
It's
had a
yours.
magic 8 ball, it would have said all signs point to yes.
Mm-hmm.
I know.
We're being tempted. We're being tempted to come to the show. You want some Skyline and some Marion's Pizza. Yes, always,
Yeah, yeah, and
always.
well, there's also that amazing deli there in Columbus.
What is that?
Oh, great deli! I took Boontar there when we were there. Just a very authentic New York style Jewish deli with they make all their meats in house, so they've got pastrami that's just amazing. They also make their own pickles, and they have pickle barrels in the self-service area where you go to refill your drinks. None of these things are probably allowed now,
Mm-hmm.
but all you can eat pickles, and they're just incredible. Um, Yeah, if I can remember the name of the place. Every time I go to Columbus, I always have to Google it, but it jumps right out, or on Yelp. It's like, hey, it's a must see place. But
Mm.
so let's see. Are you back to work at the office now, or are you still working from home?
Well, it's a good question. So um, last week I think was week 10 working from home, and so I don't think when the decision was made that those of us that could work remotely should work remotely, I don't know that any of us anticipated it being this long not stepping foot in the office. And so one of the things at our company is we have an internal file server intranet. So all of the raw files for images, for like all of the Adobe, Photoshop, raw, uh, edited, but actual like master files are all hosted locally, so that anybody can access them, and so that if I make a change to a brochure, it proliferates and continues on and gets spread to everybody's version of that.
Hmm.
Um, Unfortunately, our file server, it literally took me an hour to download file
Mm.
one file for editing. And then, there's a 0% probability of me re-uploading that file, and waiting an hour to do that. And so I went into, and all this to say, near the beginning of all this, we set up Google shared drives, and with the goal of migrating our online internet server to Google so that we can have access more easily spread across wherever we happen to be. We have a small 15-person company. We're not really designed to work remotely.
Yeah.
We're a manufacturing company, so remote work wasn't ever a top priority for us. So it was torture. So last week I go into the office for one day. One day I go into the office, and pretty much the entire day was spent just downloading the entire file server. It turns out
Mm.
this entire server was only 350 gigs. So it actually isn't all that big compared with what's on there. Lots of videos and other things. And I had just enough space on my hard drive. And so I downloaded our entire company file server onto a hard drive that I was able to bring home with me. And then that's allowing me, one of the reasons that this is really important now is I've got a new employee. He is working on a lot of these files and he needs access to the core files. I'm not about to have him spend an hour just to access
Right.
one. So
But how,
so
how
I
do you make sure that the files then that get worked on get mirrored back on the company server?
so they won't.
Yeah.
But what I'm doing is, instead of just sending them to him, I'm taking them from my hard drive and uploading them to our new Google Drive
Mm.
server replacement, basically. And
Right.
so one of the goals there is we didn't want to just do a copy paste because our server is a disaster in terms of organization. So we want the new one to be much better organized. So it's actually good. It's allowing me to kind of organize and upload that way, and
Hmm.
then those changes and revisions that are being made will be made on that online version, which is great. All of that is a long way to say I went to the office for one day last week. That's it. That was on Tuesday. By Friday, it came out that one of my coworkers' husbands has tested positive for COVID-19. Um, and so that resulted in a lot of people going home.
A
Um,
coworker that was present on Tuesday at the
that was
office.
present on Tuesday. Her husband had tested positive. At this point, I can tell you that she has also tested positive. She probably tested positive on Friday. And so that kind of, we were like a lot of companies, I think, we're just in that stage of starting to kind of return to
Mm.
normal. And it has been a complete
Yeah.
reversal of that. And so now more people are working from home than ever before. Some of the people that never left the office are now working from home, which has presented all new challenges, trying to do even more things remotely that we hadn't done. So like um, uh, the one that has tested positive and her coworker, they are customer service people. They were both working in the office together in a shared workspace. They were working in the office, answering our phone system. Well, now they're working from home. which means there's no one in the office to capture our phones, which means we have now had to, drop of a hat, send all of our hardline phone calls to an online phone VoIP system. Now,
Wow.
so I will be working from home at least for 3 weeks, if not more than that, as will many others at my company. I did go ahead on Friday and get tested. Did the nasal test. I think there are different versions of that. What I had was not bad at all. There was no like poking the brain like a lot of people have described. And the results came back negative. But given the short length of time from when I would have been exposed to when I was tested, there's a 50% falsehood
Right.
likelihood. So, yeah, so I'm still working from home now.
Oh, wow. I wonder if anybody in the chat here, if we have anybody in the chat, if they've got folks around them that have tested positive. We've had this kind of this buffer around us being in North Carolina. There's lots of room here, but our friends and coworkers in New England, it's a totally different story.
Yeah.
I'm just curious about that.
Yeah, a number of people are here. Some of our closest friends.
Awesome.
We've got Steam Dome, WKR Piper in Cincinnati. We've got Dodif is here. 30-day reviews is here. Rory, Tunnel Take, and yeah, Dodif's the only one so far mentioned. The wifey's not been to work in over 2 months. Not sure when she's going back. Is working from home though, so that's good. And Dodif just said I had 2 people, but that was about a month and a half ago.
Wow. So, hey, speaking of Dodif, good to see you, Dodif. The Cobfoolery contest just ended. Took forever to end, right? We ran into overtime. And Dodif took second place in the Pro Classic and the Pro Freehand. So he doesn't have to make room for those nasty plaques that he's been that have been clogging up his walls for all these years. But anyway, did a wonderful job on those pipes. And also, speaking of that, the winner in the pro category in both of those pro class in both those categories was Chris Morgan from Morgan Pipes, and he will be 1/4 of Mark Woodman's Breakfast Club next week. He's going to be here with us. We're going to chat with yet another pipe maker. We spoke with Brian Growley from Growley Pipes last week, and such an interesting guy, and his approach to pipe making is dramatically different than what Chris does. Chris is having production pipes manufactured in Italy to his design under his specs, and he also does some one-on-one or one-off carvings, and he's got quite an interesting business going on. He's also teaching himself metalsmithing, and so I'm looking forward to spending some time with Chris. I've actually been in his shop out in California, and that was a kind of a fortunate happenstance that he lived in the same town as one of the salespeople I was traveling with. So that was fortunate.
This will be another friend or acquaintance of yours that I'll get to meet for the first time. It'll be fun.
All right. That's right. Also wanted to say that if you guys are not already following the Breyer Report, once again, put in a plug for BreyerReport.org, BreyerReport.com, and more importantly, the newsletter, BRTV Guide. And that's free. You can sign up for it there at either of those websites. And they did it. They delayed and dedicated an issue to the Cobfoolery contest. So they delayed putting out this week's issue so they could announce the winners in that and put pictures of pipes and so on. So I encourage you to get a copy of that. It's pretty cool.
That's
but
cool.
Beautiful pipes this year, as always. So
what have you been up to?
Well, besides work, I'm still doing webinar after webinar after webinar. We've been doing a brand new series. My employer has launched a new product that has required quite extensive training. And normally we would have gone on the road, me and the product manager, to do training region by region. And we did a 2-hour kickoff webinar, which was just enough to confuse people. And so we've been doing 2-hour follow-ups region by region. So that way, as folks in Florida, in their market's a little different than the folks in other markets. And then we have sales reps that call exclusively on kitchen cabinet manufacturers, some that call only on office furniture manufacturers. So we're meeting alone with those people in webinars. So we're doing 3 2-hour webinars a day, the product manager and I, and also the new incoming product manager. Our product manager is moving into an engineering role with our company. And so I go off of 3 2-hour sessions and wrap up my day with a daily 1-hour webinar that we've been doing now for, I don't know, about 2 months. So 7 hours a day, I am sitting with these earbuds in my ears.
And then you come back and you do it again for us.
Yeah. Well, hey, this is fun. That's fun too. I got to admit, my job, I am blessed to be in a role that I get to use my talents and I get to work with great people. And it's particularly fun when we have a product or products that are super innovative and that our customers are clamoring for. That's awesome. So, and then this weekend I was working with Smuckers, my oldest grandson, 10 going on 11 soon, working in my shop on a project for him. So last week we built that pirate's chest for your oldest, and now I'm working with my daughter's oldest on a project he wants to build, which is a reproduction of a little desk that Thomas Jefferson designed and that Thomas Jefferson wrote the Declaration of Independence on, and then went on to use that little travel desk for 50 years of his life. And it's in the Smithsonian, the original one, and we are in the process of replicating that for my grandson.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
I will say not 100% faithfully, because I want him to be able to do it. And some of the joinery on the original is like some super fine hand-cut, half-blind dovetails, which he's not going to be able to pull off. So the joinery will cheat a little bit on, but same dimensions and general shape and size of the original.
So maybe won't last 50 years?
It's hard to say. I mean, what's really cool about it, too, is some friends of ours who moved to Hawaii a couple months back, we helped them pack up their house in Cincinnati in preparation for their move. And as we're about to leave, he said, "Hey, do you have any interest in these bookshelves?" And these bookshelves were built into his little den. And it's like, well, aren't these staying with the house? He said, no, the buyers don't really want them, so we're going to tear it out and throw it away. Well, we're in a rental car, right? There's no way I can take this giant walnut bookcase home. But I said, well, if you're truly going to throw it away, I'll take the shelves. And so the shelves are 5-quarter, as it's called, right? So they're coming in a little bit over an inch thick.
Yay.
A little bit over an inch thick. And they had a decorative kind of a bullnose on the edge. And so they're a little bit wider than 6 inches. And my bandsaw will resaw up to 6 inches. So we cut that bullnose off, and then we were resawing. In other words, splitting those boards in half. Well, as soon as we ran it through the planer and got rid of the finish that was on it, we realized it's not walnut, it's mahogany. And mahogany is exactly the wood that Thomas Jefferson's desk was made from. And the fact that it came out of a building in Dayton, Ohio that was built the year I was born in Dayton, Ohio, it's got some history, and that it was in our friend's home, and these friends are the grandparents of my grandkids' best friends. So I think there's a chance this desk could survive a while.
Some sentimentality to it, for sure.
I think so. So still, it's a big project. Quite a bit different than ripping some 2x4s and stapling them together with your son.
Yeah, I was going to ask how far along in the project were you able to get?
just the resawing, because we both had some other things we had to get done this weekend, and so
Plus,
we just
Harbor
went
Freight
to
was
the.
having a sale.
Well, we did go to Harbor Freight. Yes. You know, the bigger challenge is the hardware that's on it isn't made anymore. And the hinges that he used, I come to find, I didn't know this, they're called desk hinges. Only desk hinges today are much bigger. They're like 2 inches wide and almost 3 inches long. They're a rectangular hinge that fold along the narrow part. So they fold like this with a long leaf with 3 screws on each side. And these hinges are a half inch, no, 3/4 of an inch wide, and not quite 2 inches long, and they're not made. And I've been everywhere online, and I know a lot of places that sell reproduction hardware, and can't find it. So what we're kind of fudging that a little bit with some hinges that I was able to buy, and it's going to have a half mortise lock with a little kind of a skeleton key to get into it. And so it's, as you step back, if you don't know better, it's going to look like a pretty decent replica. So,
That's cool.
Yeah.
That'd be great. Hey, speaking of woodworking and working in the shop, I saw a video posted in my feed late last night. What's all that about?
Well, a week ago, I cleared a corner of my shop, of my garage, to function as an in-home shop. I think we talked about that was a goal of mine. And after getting it all set up, I thought, all right, let's just get on this. Let's shoot a video. So I shot a 3-minute long video, a couple edits to get it to 3 minutes. And it was on kind of a foundational setup of Shopsmith equipment. Every now and then I'll get a message from somebody because I write a couple Shopsmith blogs.
Mm-hmm.
And people will say, hey, I found your blog. I got this Shopsmith from my grandpa and I don't know where to start. And I want to scream, you need to know these basic 5 things. And so that's what the video is on.
Plus an extra 6th thing.
Yes. Okay. Five like critical steps plus 1 bonus.
Yeah, I watched it.
Did you really? You
Yeah, I
wasted 3 minutes of your life?
no, like a minute and a half because I watched things and fast forward.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I had it on while I was doing other things.
Okay. Well, I posted a link to it over on a Facebook group that I'm a part of. Again, Shopsmith Facebook group. And the post wasn't there long before. Let me pull this up. Before somebody left a comment. Let me see here. The comment that they left was a 3-minute video for what is a 5-sentence slide. Never understand these YouTube channels.
Oh, that's funny.
So I replied to him that, look, I'm a corporate trainer, former trainer at Shopsmith, and I understand that people have different learning styles. Some people can read something and get everything they need to know. Some people are visual learners, some are auditory learners. And the beauty of video is it hits on 2 of those 3 things. Apparently, you're one of those that can get it from a little slide or a page on a catalog. And, I didn't say good for you, but basically good for you. And then somebody posted a comment that my comment's gotten a bunch of likes on it, but somebody posted the comment tagging that guy saying, post something better. There's your challenge.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah, I don't understand that degree of criticism, but that's pretty common on YouTube when you see somebody doing a how-to video, especially when there's lots of ways you can do it. People feel the need to not say, hey, thanks for sharing your approach. Instead, they have to say, oh, that isn't the way I would do it.
Right.
It's, I don't know, seems pretty common.
Yeah, but the other common thing though on YouTube and just any social media is feeling the need to argue with crazy. I mean, especially it feels like that is especially true these days. That I don't know if it's stir crazy, cabin fever, what, but I've caught a number of people just on like video or on Zoom or whatever, in the middle of being frustrated or the middle of just a back and forth with someone who is a stranger who has said something to disagree with, and that they're all fired up and very passionate about how they need to prove this person wrong. And
Yeah.
no, I don't need them to agree with me. I just need them to hear what I have to say.
Yeah.
A number of times it's happened. Um, so
Oh yeah.
I
Oh,
thought that was a great response though.
no question about it. And I even pointed out that my comment in response has gotten some thumbs up. That does. There is. What do you call that, Seth?
Social proof.
Social proof. Social
Yeah.
proof is a real thing. You want, when somebody's telling you that you're nuts, you kind of want people to say, "No, I don't think he's so nuts."
I
You
mean,
know.
I've seen that in particular. That seems to be sparked by whatever your position is on lockdown and coronavirus, whatever your political position is, whatever your position is on
Face
whatever
mask.
the most recent. Well, yeah, I mean, everything around coronavirus, whatever about whatever the hot button thing is in the news that day. I don't know. I have a hard time with that because
Yeah.
I understand that there's no value to it and that you're never going to win. So it's arguing for argument's sake. Um, but some people are really passionate about having to feel like they have won somehow.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. No, I
yeah.
get that. So speaking of YouTube, I saw an interesting video the other day, and how it ended up in my feed is all thanks to the YouTube algorithm.
Algorithm.
It was suggested to me. Are you familiar with a channel called Truffles on the Rocks?
No, at least not by name.
So it's a mixologist
Hmm.
who makes cocktails. And why
Gotcha.
in the world would YouTube serve up to me a video from a mixologist?
Huh.
Because the drink he was making is called pipe tobacco cocktail.
Nice.
So he's not a pipe smoker, but he kind of begins his video by saying, "I love the smell of pipe tobacco," and I've always wondered, would it be possible to capture the essence of that in a cocktail?
And
And then away he goes.
and is he able to?
I believe that he has. Some of the things that he's put in there are things that I've had in pipe tobacco, and so
So
yeah.
cherry and rum and vanilla and ketchup
And
and
Perique.
yeah. Um,
No, no Perique.
Man, I am woefully unprepared to finish smoking this pipe because I don't have any sort of ash receptacle.
Well, you're outside, aren't you?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, I am in the garage, but I am under the garage, and outside is on the other side of this table that has all of my expensive electronics on it. So it's fine. We're
Well,
good.
knock
I
the
got it worked
ashes
out.
out and put them in your pocket.
Speaking of YouTube, our guest from a couple weeks ago, my brother-in-law Isaac Starnes is starting a YouTube channel,
Oh, good for him.
and it was funny because it was just several weeks ago he was pretty adamantly against the idea, and has turned around pretty quickly and is now investing heavily in the idea. And So he spent last weekend, or this past weekend, going to pawn shops and buying tools. And a large focus of his video is going to be crappy tool restoration.
Oh yeah,
He got really great deals on some really nice tools, but and so they need to be fixed up. He wants them for his shop anyway, and so he figures might as well film the process and document it. The way he
yeah,
described it and his vision for it, I think he's got to figure out what the tone and rhythm is going to be. But he's got a young guy who's working with him now, and so it's going to be a lot of just teaching him things and
okay,
the viewer observing. He said he wants it to be more like Dude Perfect. uh,
Okay.
where yeah. So I'm not sure, but we're gonna meet and talk about. We've already talked to him about some of the tools or some of the like editing tools and resources. He's got to get a camera, got to get or actually he's going to be using his phone probably, but lighting, microphones. We've talked about that stuff. But one of the tools that he has is his old coworker's old Mark V. So
Okay.
I recommended he reach out to you for tips
Yeah.
on how to rebuild that.
All right. Well, that's cool. A couple years ago, my bro worker Daniel, who is Cuz,
I know him as
decided he
Daniel.
wanted to do woodworking, and had some young kids and very little income, and was wanting to build a cradle and a few other things. So we did just that. We went to pawn shops every day at lunch and went shopping around and bought him some tools.
Nice.
And the two of the best deals he bought a 3 horsepower variable speed Porter cable router. This is a router at the time that was probably selling for about $350, but it had what felt like, if you felt the arbor, it had some crusty bearings in it. So it had been used pretty well, but we were able to pull the brushes out there in the store and could tell that they were, if not the original, at least they were original equipment brushes and not too far gone. And I've replaced bearings in Porter cable routers before. And so I said, look, we can do this if you want to do this. And we talked the guy at the store down to $50 for this router. And then he put maybe a $20 bearing into it, and it was good as new.
Mm.
Beautiful, beautiful router. And another one that he bought, we went, he said, hey, I think I've found a bandsaw. Can you come with me to take a look at it? And we go down into this guy's, it wasn't exactly a basement. I guess you'd call it a cellar. It had an exterior entrance, and it wasn't a tall ceiling down in this basement area. But he had a meat cutting Hobart stainless steel bandsaw. So not at all appropriate for woodworking, but he also wanted a ridiculous price. He wanted like $75 for it. So I pulled Daniel aside. I said, look, this isn't the right bandsaw for you, but that is a tremendous price. I suggest you buy it and resell it. And if you're not interested in doing that, I'm buying it and reselling it.
Yeah.
So he bought it. And while the guy was helping us kind of clear a path towards the door, he says to Daniel, hey, would you like this lathe?
Wow.
So Daniel got a lathe out of it. He buys this bandsaw, puts it on eBay, and within a week he got, I don't know, $1,000 or something like that for it, and the customer paid the shipping.
Right.
And he put it on a pallet, dropped it off at a trucking company, and pocketed about $1,000.
Wow.
So
And a
those are
free lathe.
fun deals, and a free lathe on top of that. Yeah, yep.
Yeah, that makes me think of the American pickers and how they always say, you got to, I don't know what the terms are, but break the seal. Basically, you gotta get the first deal out of the way, and once you have that,
Oh yeah.
it breaks the tension.
The guy would
And
never have said, "Hey, you want a free lathe?"
right,
If we were
not gotten
helping
to that point.
free up some space in his basement, is what we were doing.
Right. Yeah, that's super cool.
Have you ever bought any tools like that? You needed any tools from Craigslist or?
No, I've not really bought any much of anything off of eBay or Craigslist. Tools. I don't have any place to use tools at the moment, so no value in purchasing them. When I mean, and when I need something, it's small and it's something I can get from Harbor Freight.
Yeah.
So,
Or you pop into my shop and you get a key for that. So,
yep. And then get the other parts at Harbor Freight.
how did the thing work out for Allie
Mm,
that you were working on? And
great. Let
and fill
me.
us in on that. What were you making?
Yeah. Let me. I'll share a picture actually. Um. So Allison was decorating the kids' bedroom, the boys' bedroom for Star Wars. Um,
Okay.
and so she was making a Star Wars marquee sign, basically, which I will pull up right now.
All right, and I have my phone out so I can see this. Of course, I have to remember that the video's a little bit delayed.
What is happening here?
I don't know.
Let's see. Oh, I see.
We got a black screen now.
Yep. All right, here it is.
Okay.
So this is a Star Wars marquee that's homemade completely. She painted.
Still looking at a black screen. Are you
Well,
sharing it yet?
you're delayed. I'm sharing it. Yes. Um,
Okay.
uh, and um,
Oh, cool.
yeah, isn't that neat?
That is
So
really neat.
I don't think I have any before pictures. That's just my face. Here she is. Of course, it's not going to do it sideways. Here she is drilling the holes. Um, so she painted this on a large piece of particle board without thinking about the fact that we're going to have to cut it out somehow. And so I'll show you. These are the boys coming up to see it for the first time. So cutting it out was a challenge. Drilling the holes, it's got 25 lights in it. She also painted the ceiling, put glow in the dark stars up, and
Cool.
just went all out for the boys and their room. So it was a lot of fun. But yeah, I mean, we certainly did not do that the easy way. Would have been easier to have a table saw um, accessible, but ended up using a hand saw actually for most of that. Have one of the small, I think, Japanese hand saws
Ah,
that did a pretty good job. Use the what is that thing called? The universal
it's a
tool that I was
multi-tool. It's a
multi-tool.
multi-tool.
Use that quite a bit for trimming and then sanding as well. So
It's a lot of work with a multi-tool if you're going to do some cutting.
it was a lot of work.
By the way,
Um,
that was a great looking ladder in that picture too.
Thanks. I don't think that's the ladder that you think it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not the ladder. This is not the ladder you think it is.
Yeah, that ladder didn't arrive until the next day, but
Ah, okay.
yeah. But thanks. That ladder's the one for the bunk bed.
Gotcha. No, I was talking about the one that was in the doorway.
I don't know. Um, but yes, there is a ladder in the upstairs. So anyway, so
So
Allison
what? No,
went
wait, wait,
all out.
wait. So your daughter's room, she had painted a tree, and the wind is kind of blowing the tree, and some of the leaves are flying on the wall around the room.
Yeah.
So in the boys' room, you've got a half blown up Death Star with little bits and pieces flying through the room. Are
I
those glow in the dark?
I wish that they were around the room. No, she didn't do that. I asked her to. She didn't do that. So
I thought I
no,
saw pieces of the Death Star floating off in the
no.
not around the room though.
There is a yeah, not around the room. There is a broken Death Star. She did paint a broken Death Star. Um, uh, and like I said, she got like really cool, really very bright, glow in the dark dots and stars that are up there. I think we may replace a couple of the bulbs in the thing with black light bulbs. Um,
Hmm.
just to give them some extra glow. I also want to replace those with LEDs because that sucker is hot.
You could also backlight that. That would be cool. Backlight the sign a little
Oh,
bit so that it would pop off the wall a little bit. With again
yes,
with some LED ribbons.
yes, yeah, yeah. It does have a frame around probably I don't know half of it
Yeah.
on the underside. So on both the verticals, it's full, and on the bottom. But got it hooked up to Alexa, so the kids can turn it on and off with voice, which is
Neat.
neat. So yeah, it was a fun little project. But yeah, not the most efficient way of getting through that stuff. Um, there are better tools that could have been used. Oh, we
So
made it work.
at your house, what name does Alexa respond to?
Hmm. These days it's Alexa.
Oh, no.
It used to be computer. So we got 3 Alexa devices. Um, Actually, it may be computer. Computer lights on. I can't remember. Uh, Alexa, Alexa, garage lights on. I really can't remember. Okay, Alexa, garage off. So all 3 of them are now Alexa. We use Google Home as our primary. We found it's a lot better. We have them both. There was a good deal on Google. So after we had 3 Alexas, I bought a Google Home. And one of the things that we really like about it is its Spotify integration is much better. The
Yeah.
volume is louder, but Alexa will play one song and stop. So if you ask it to play a song, Google will basically start a Spotify radio channel,
Right.
which is great. So if you get to the end of a playlist or whatever, it just acts like it does on the phone, on the computer. Whereas for whatever reason, Alexa just doesn't. And
Yeah.
so the kids each have an Alexa dot in their bedroom. The boys had one
So
for a
so
while.
so that Amazon can listen in.
That's right. They were doing it already.
I know.
Story got jealous of the boys being able to listen to story time. And so she has one now, and so now there are 2 robots telling my kids bedtime stories.
The
It's a very
grandkids
weird.
here have an Echo Dot in their bedroom, and they listen to Harry Potter being read to them all night long.
Hmm.
We have, like you, we have both the Echo Dots, the Alexa, and we also have Google Home, and then we just added the Google Home Nest to the house so that now, while I'm sitting here on the back porch, I have tremendous Wi-Fi. Before I was having to just use my 4G on my iPad,
So the
and
Google Home Nest, for those who don't know, is what? Because it sounds like 2 things. It sounds like a Nest
it's
thermostat.
well, okay. It has Google Home integrated into it, so it has the artificial intelligence as if you had one of the Echo Dots or one of the small Google Home. Looks like a little puck. It's a little bit bigger, and what it is, it's a repeater for your Wi-Fi. So it basically makes a mesh in the house and is just echoing the Wi-Fi signal throughout the house. And so I could, from any room, command the devices in other rooms. But more importantly for me, we were really starving for Wi-Fi in the house. The Wi-Fi router is on the far end of the house on the second floor. And now that I'm on the back porch smoking my pipe, I wanted Wi-Fi out here.
Hmm.
And so that took care of that. Now, you found at Walmart a clearance sale going on. We paid $200 for 2 of the Google Nests, and you found 3 of them at Walmart for $150. Now, I suspect maybe it was a previous generation, but
Yeah.
who cares?
Yeah.
It would have done everything I needed it to do.
Yeah, and it was like 3 days later, 3 days after you guys bought yours. It was a
Always.
single unit on clearance. I didn't buy it because I don't need it, but yeah, was there.
It's a great deal.
Um, it would have been. Yeah, so a mesh network allows you to have these different access points. But what's nice is if any of you have ever used a Wi-Fi repeater, those are limited in that you have to physically connect your device to the repeater, and then reconnect it to your main Wi-Fi router. Whereas a mesh network, the computer, the routers are doing all of that switching for you. And so on
Mm-hmm.
Google, Dad could walk from one end of his house to the other, connect to 3 different Wi-Fi spots, and never know it because it's just switching to whichever the strongest signal strength is. They're pretty
Yep.
cool.
Yep.
Amber,
So
no, it is not too much to have a dot in the bathrooms. They're
no,
great for the bathrooms. Great for taking showers,
yeah.
unless they fall into the sink, which mine did.
So that was my first Google Home. We have one in the office and one in the master bath. And first thing in the morning, I walk in and I say, "Good morning, Google," or Google, "Hey Google, good morning." And it starts into a daily routine that I set up in the app. So it gives me the local weather, and then it starts giving me highlights from several different news sources. And at any point I want, I can tell it to shut up or tell it to start streaming a local radio or, stuff on Spotify.
30-day reviews, that's a great question. And correct me if I'm wrong, I think you just bought your first corncob pipes recently. Pipe question, is a pipe lighter worth the cost? This is something we've addressed before, I think.
I've never found them to be worth the cost. I find that Bics, except for this ugly one, are worth their weight in gold. These have gone through the wash. They've been run over by cars. And as long as there's fuel in it, and there seems to be a lot of fuel in these, they just always work. And typically in my pocket, I carry the mini version of the Bic. I do have a couple pipe lighters, and they've been finicky. And, if I'm smoking, I've always got my Aristocob tamper here in my finger. And so I don't need my lighter to also be a pipe tool. And so I've got one in my van that every now and then I'll go, oh, I should probably refill that. And I do, and I use it a little bit. But it never works as well as the Bic. I also have a couple of Zippo lighters that I have converted over to Thunderbird butane lighters. And
What's that?
It's a little $15 adapter that swaps out for the guts of a Zippo lighter and turns your Zippo lighter into a butane lighter. And there's several versions of them. The one that I have is a pipe lighter. So you flip it open, and if this were a Zippo, normally the flame goes straight up, but instead there's a hole in the side and the flame shoots out of the side. So it makes it very convenient then to light your pipe with it. So that if you like a Zippo, you like the sound and feel and weight of a Zippo, but you're not interested in constantly refilling them or getting chemical burns if you overfill. I find that the Thunderbird, there's a couple different versions of it. Zippo came out with one themselves, but theirs is a torch lighter. So it's like a very strong flame like you would use to light a cigar. Not good on pipes. So good question.
We recently, during Tobacco Advent this last year, we were gifted some Zippos and really used those to light, I think, every single pipe of Tobacco Advent. And
I think so
one
too.
of the questions we got, did you what?
I think so too, yes.
Yeah, one of the questions we received with regard to that was about if we could taste the
fluid.
Propane. The propane?
No,
butane.
it's not. No, it's neither.
Lighter
in
fluid,
the Zippo,
yeah.
It's lighter fluid.
Yeah. If you could taste it with your smoke as you're lighting, and the answer is yes, very briefly, like very very briefly, but it goes away. And so that wasn't an issue for me. If you are a frequent pipe smoker, I think the Zippo's great. It's fun to have, it's fashionable, but I'm a very infrequent pipe smoker, and literally every single smoke, I would have to refill the lighter with fluid because it just evaporates between, a week or 2 weeks go by and I don't smoke. And that was frustrating.
Yep.
That was a frustration.
By the way, for those of you keeping track, curious about these and how long they smoke, it also depends upon your tobacco. And this is one of those tobaccos similar to our funky Fruit Loopy tobacco that's got a little bit of flake mixed in with it. And, flake is compressed tobacco that's then sliced, and that burns a lot longer than just your typical ribbon. So, yeah, it's nice for a little teeny pipe to be able to get that kind of longevity.
So, question was also asked, have you ever tried the Help lighters, and what are your thoughts on match-only purists? What is a Help lighter?
Never heard of a Help lighter.
I'm not sure.
So we're going to describe that.
Lighter bro, yes. Totally worth it. Worth every penny. Don't waste your money on that.
That is wrong.
Match only?
We did that a couple times too. No problem with match only. It does give you that advantage where With a Zippo, maybe you taste the fuel. By the way, one of the secrets of the Zippo is you light it and you don't light your pipe for a few seconds. That initial combustion really sets off some fumes, and those go away pretty well. Also,
hemp
my
lighters. No, we've not
no,
tried hemp lighters.
no, we have tried them. No,
Hemp
uh,
lighters?
well, the hemp wick, you light the wick with a match or a lighter, and then you use that to light your pipe. No, I found that to be silly. Um, and again, I think that this kind of says it all. 97% of the time, I'm lighting with either that or these lighters right here. These are
Shoot a little to
Clipper
your left. A little to your left. There you go.
Clipper lighters. It's a European-made lighter, and it's very similar to a Bic. However, it is refillable, unlike your Bic. And
really easy
in
to light.
fact, you can take this and grab a hold of the little strike wheel and give it a tug, and that comes out, and you can then replace the flint as well. So similar to a Zippo, yet long performance out of these.
I like that lighter because of the shape of the strike wheel.
Yeah.
I sometimes have a struggle getting this going. If my thumb is, I don't know, feeling particularly fat that day, just can't get the right purchase on it.
Yeah. Well, in the Bics that I use in my van and that I use in the shop, I remove the child safety thing. Here at the house, I don't. But that little strap of metal right there in the middle of the wheel requires some strength to push that down to make contact with the little knurled wheels,
Yeah.
and I pull those off with needle nose pliers.
Yeah, we're getting some good comments too. Petroleum jelly helps prevent evaporation of the fluid,
Right.
but it doesn't taste great. So
You put the petroleum jelly around the insert, and that helps to seal it off. Yeah, there's also a little silicone thing that you can add to a Zippo that also helps.
okay, we also got cut a bicycle inner tube to create a seal to reduce evaporation.
Yeah, that sounds fashionable.
Yeah.
I don't care enough about a Zippo
Lighter
to
Bro
do
2.0.
all that. But again, the Zippo with the Thunderbird insert, that's a winner. I like that a lot.
I think I would care about it more if I was everyday carrying a Zippo, and you need it to be reliable, you need it to light, and also if you run the risk of having it leak in your pocket. Um, Roy said that's neat. Can we get those stateside? I think you're turning to the European lighter.
The Clipper lighter, yeah, you can find them. Yep. We at one time I thought about having some made with Aristocob on it. It's such a problem shipping things. You're not supposed to ship lighters with fluid in them, and so I could purchase those without fluid and sell them. But I don't know. We're kind of staying in our lane, as you said earlier today. You know, there's a lot of stuff you can get into if you want to get into accessories for pipe smoking. What was the lighter that he suggested and asked if we knew about?
A hemp lighter.
No, but the other one. He asked if we'd ever used a
hemp. He wrote help lighter.
Okay, hemp.
But
Got
wrote
it. Okay.
hemp. And then thoughts on match only purists. It's fine. There's we've done that too for lengths of time. Really, I think our philosophy on lighters really pairs well with the philosophy on pipes, and that's simple is good, easy is good. Less hassle is good. You want to be able to. For us, it's about being able to smoke the pipe and not about.
Your audio just went away. I don't know if you can hear me, but I
I can
can't
hear you
hear
just
you.
fine.
There you go.
I can hear you just fine.
But yeah, the other thing too is if you find yourself, out somewhere and you need a lighter, you're going to find these everywhere.
Mm.
And the other thing too is, I'm wearing my blue jeans and I've got the little pocket watch pocket. Some people think it's a change pocket, and maybe for some people it is. But that's where I'll keep that mini Bic, so I don't have to dig down in my pocket around all the rest of my EDC.
Yeah.
So always way too much stuff in my pocket, my fidget spinners and pocket knives and keychains and things like that.
I have a new fidget spinner coming my way from China, so it'll be here in like 3 years. But I'm excited. I'm excited for it to get here to get your take on it. It was an impulse buy. I was buying some other crap uh, from China, and found this fidget spinner that is literally a ball bearing with basically a gear along the outside. So it's just bigger than the finger grips,
Okay.
which seems like the perfect size for a pocket fidget carry.
Yeah, sounds very compact.
Yeah.
Um, the fidget spinners I carry now have the ceramic bearings,
Hmm.
and those are fantastic, and they're quiet and smooth, smooth, and run a long, long, long time.
Hmm.
Big fan of those. Yeah, well, I know that the craze came and went, but for people like me who I'm really easily distracted when I'm trying to stay focused on something, and if I can do something with my hands, kind of a repeated activity. So if it's a ballpoint pen, clicking the pen, which is annoying to other people, but if I can do something like that while I'm trying to read or stay focused on something, that helps to occupy the part of my mind that wants to wander,
Yeah.
and fidget spinners have been super helpful for that. Um, I use them literally every day.
Do you? I
Mm-hmm.
I was kicking myself. I left my fidget cube on my work desk, and I enjoy the fidget cube. It's a good size for me.
I
It gives
never
me a bunch of
never got
different
into
things.
the fidget cube.
I like the variety of things you can mess around with, and it's also a really good palmable size, so that it's less tends to be less distracting to other people
All right.
when
Well,
you're
here.
using it.
Okay. Yes. Here's the interesting thing about a fidget spinner and how I use it. I will hold it and spin it, and then just let it spin, and that vibration in my hand is enough. I don't have to constantly be fidgeting with it. Where the fidget cube, there is no perpetual motion to it, right? It's only moving if you're moving it, right?
Hmm. Yes, that's right.
Learning about myself here, man. It's
Um, well, hey, something came in the mail the other day that I thought might show off. Take the opportunity
sure.
to show off. Um,
Go ahead.
so I talked about this a couple of weeks ago that I was kind of talking up one of my favorite YouTube channels, The Modern Rogue.
Oh yeah.
Um, and I'm really excited. I got a notification today. I backed the their Founders Club, which is their
Yeah.
uh, basically backed their purchase of this property that they've been filming on. And my founders challenge coin and a piece of the property shipped today. So I'm super excited about that. My name is on a plaque with 999 other founder members. It's like massive. It is a massive like bronzed placard that's going to be outside of their facility, outside of their compound. It's so cool. And so they do community really really well. They do a really good job of making you feel like part of the club. And so they released a product recently that they called the Modern Rogue Pin of Greatness. And
Right.
so I purchased one, and so I have that here. And it is a matte black pin with ribbed, slightly, ever so slightly ribbed grips here. I don't know if you can see very, very faintly in
Okay. Yep.
the
Modern Road.
gloss is says Modern Rogue, but you can barely see it unless you're looking at it with a light. Um, and so this has and what prompted is you were showing off a pencil,
Yep.
mechanical pencil that you got. So this has a gravity. There you go. It has a gravity feed
Hmm.
multiple color ink colors. So
Right.
it's got black, red, blue, and you have had a number of these
Yeah.
pens in the past. It has a mechanical pencil
Nice.
side as well. One thing that's unique about these is they because as they position it is the last pen you should ever need to own. The pen of greatness. It's got a lifetime guarantee, and so they said, look, you lose it, you drive over it with your car, whatever, they'll replace it for free for life. Um, which I thought was really cool. I
Can
don't
you
ever.
can you open it? Are you able to open it? Well, you would have to be able to replace the ink. Because my problem with those kind of pens is they basically often have just a simple plastic, like the core of a Bic pen, and they're those have for me have been problematic. So I'm curious
So this
about
is
what they are. They metal?
a metal.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. They're metal inserts. Now, the one thing that you will not like or would not like about this, I also bring it up because I don't know if they're still on sale. They had them on sale this weekend for Memorial Day, and it's an expensive pen. It was like $25 on sale. But again, free replacements for life is a pretty sweet deal, and I like it because I'm part of the club. I was happy to back their things, and so it's nice to have something of theirs. Um, the one thing it doesn't have, at least that I can tell, I haven't attempted to break the pen, is it doesn't have an eraser built into the cap, which
Oh,
many of
okay.
them do.
Right.
Now, the box came with an eraser. It came with a full-size eraser, and they included extra pencil lead. Um, I don't ever use a pencil anyway, so it's not a big deal for me. Um, but I don't know if they're still on sale at the moment. I saw they were having a sale this weekend, and was excited that came in. I'm really excited for my challenge coin to come in because they look great.
Well, let me know what you think about it. I would buy one after I hear what you think of it, and the next time
Of
they go on sale
the pen.
of the pen.
Oh, I
Yeah.
like it.
No, I'm saying give it some time and let me know what you think,
Well, I've had
because I
it for
do carry
about
a
three
pen,
weeks.
a Sharpie, and a mechanical pencil. So if I could combine that with a quality pen,
Yeah,
I wouldn't mind it. But I really do like this pencil.
yeah. I I've had it for about 3 or 4 weeks, and have been using it. So this isn't brand new to me, but it's the first time that we haven't had a guest and have been able to talk
Yeah,
about non-guest stuff.
useless information.
That's right. That's right. Speaking of useless information, um, while we're in a sharing mood, um, I have found two interesting apps that I think you might find interesting, and others. Anyone that is doing having to do like video conferencing, or anyone that is on YouTube and is interested in video. One of them allows your phone to be a webcam, basically.
Okay.
And I used this the other week when we were doing Ashley's graduation ceremony. And so through this software, I've got my phone plugged in. Um, I'm able to connect to my phone as if it is a webcam and use it. So if you don't have a good high quality webcam, the software is called Epoch Cam. Um,
So why not just film with my phone and
well,
stream with my phone?
if you wanted to do a YouTube live like we're doing with a guest, if you don't have a good web camera, you could use this as your webcam for that. You can use it in the situation like I did the other day where I wanted to have a secondary video source. So the software we're using for this is basically studio production software, and so it allows for having multiple video sources. And
Hmm.
so I had my phone set up, so it does work over Wi-Fi. It also works over Bluetooth or USB. And so I had my phone pointed one direction and had my webcam pointed another direction. Was getting basically reaction shots and was able to bring them all together through the software. Um, so I know that a lot of people are at this point, most people have figured out a way to do Zoom meetings and things, but a lot of those things are out of stock. I talked to somebody; he had to wait 6 weeks to get his webcam.
I heard that too. Yeah. No,
So
that's good. With speaking of Zoom, with Zoom, you can plug your iPhone or your iPad into your computer and use it as a second camera or as a whiteboard.
yeah,
So that's
yeah,
pretty
presentation
slick.
mode.
Pretty slick that Zoom has incorporated all of that.
Hmm
Zoom is just awesome.
It
We use Skype for work, and then I also use Zoom for some meetings. And Skype just drives me batty. It sometimes works. I notice in Zoom, half of my audience will turn their cameras on, and you can have some eye contact. With Skype, and we're using the business version of Skype, you can, but people don't seem to do it so readily. It's just not. It interrupts their experience if they're trying to learn something. Having their camera on apparently fights with, if there's a PowerPoint playing or something else, and try to do a stream of video over Skype.
how many
You know,
when you're doing a Zoom meeting? How many of those people are using a virtual background?
a couple of them. They've enjoyed playing with that, and a couple of them now have kind of settled in on a picture or something that they want to use.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's kind of fun.
Um, I find that just about everybody is using virtual background on Zoom. Um, and it seems to make them feel comfortable, more comfortable. It's a little bit less intrusive.
Well,
Um,
the challenge I have is my employer is not comfortable with Zoom.
right.
And so we are not allowed to download the Zoom add-in onto our company computers. So that means my attendees are attending using the web version,
hmm
and the web version severely limits what they are able to do. So only the people that are logging in using their personal computers, where they went ahead and put the Zoom app on their Mac or their iPad, those people have the full function of Zoom.
Yeah.
Um, but I understand. I understand my company. I mean, there obviously were a lot of hiccups and some security fears, and we are not authorized to just download anything we want to on our company computers. And
Yeah.
that Zoom made it super easy, barely an inconvenience to download that. And if you accidentally click a button on your screen, suddenly you've added some software to your computer.
hmm
So,
Yeah. Your company would have had a conniption if anyone tried to download the entire contents of the company's hard drives.
yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Or just get in through the VPN.
hmm
So that's one thing that when we do either Skype or Zoom, I encourage them to not be on the VPN. There's no reason to be tied into the company's computer system. Anything that you're doing through the VPN is actually bouncing over to servers in Germany and then back. So it slows and bogs things down. And people who were having problems, I can't see your presentation or I can't see the video, I'd always ask, are you on the VPN? Yeah.
Yeah.
What have we said about that?
Yeah. We just had that very similar conversation today. So we have our customer service people are now for the first time working from home, which means we've set them up on a VoIP phone system, an internet phone system. Neither of them have high speed internet in their home. And so they were struggling today with reliable phone calls, being able to take the calls reliably. And and then near the end of the day, one of them was asking me about connecting to the VPN to access some of our CRM stuff. So we have just are just in the process of moving to a new system for all of our customer relationship management database, and so they were asking the only way to access our old system is by connecting to our servers at our office, which slows things down. And they were already struggling with slow internet. And so I had this moment of, okay, if you try to connect there, you won't be able to take any phone calls. You won't be,
Hmm.
and so is normally it's a system that they would be connected to all day. And so I had to tell them, you are going to have to figure out a different way to batch the use of this system so that you can, and as soon as you're done, disconnect from the VPN so that you can have reliable, or at least the most reliable internet for the phone calls. That's something totally new we had never dealt with or encountered before. So that was an interesting challenge.
So totally unrelated.
Yeah.
My brain went somewhere else here.
Yep.
Did you happen to watch that video by Rory Sutherland?
No, I don't know. Maybe.
He is a British marketing guy.
Oh, I did not.
Bunch of videos on YouTube, TED Talks, and so on. Really, really good videos. And an interesting guy. And he talks about, some of the challenges of when you're selling a product that's just like everybody else's product. How do you make your position different? And he talked about, if you're selling, okay, great example. If you're working for a company that makes soda of some sort, soft drinks, and the target is obviously Coke, and you want to get a piece of their action, nobody at your employer is going to fault you for trying to copy Coke. That's a logical thing. Let's make our own version of Coke. Well, how many versions of Coke have come and gone over the years? And he talked about a company that tested a product, multiple products, and when they finally came out with a winner of their taste test, the winner of the taste test was the soda that had the worst taste. They were going after one that tasted bad. And then they brought it to market in a very small container, because who would want to have a lot of that, right? But the attributes that they are bringing to it are almost medicinal. And people, when they drink medicine, expect it to have a little bit of a pain involved to it.
So is this Red Bull, or is this 5 Hour Energy?
It is Red Bull.
Yeah.
It is Red Bull. And the chunk of the market that they carve for themselves is amazing. And again, small serving size, but yeah, the guy talks about that. He talked about there's a train over in London that travels from there to Manchester, and they were looking for a way to improve the experience for their customers, and they put their engineers on it, and engineers did what engineers do. They said, well, let's spend $60 billion on new tracks and a new train. We'll go high speed, and that'll cut 45 minutes off the 3-hour ride. And he said his solution was going to cost maybe a tenth of that. He said, first one is add Wi-Fi, free Wi-Fi. And then the second thing he said is you could hire all of the male and female models in London to walk up and down the aisles passing out glasses of champagne. And you could do that, again, for a fraction of the $60 billion. And you would have people that were complaining that the ride was too short.
Yeah. Yeah, that's absolutely right.
So anyway, this guy's cool. Definitely, you've got to see the video, the commercials for a cereal called Wheaties. No, not Wheaties. No, not Wheaties. It's a cereal that's not sold in America. It's sold in the UK, Canada.
Weetabix?
No. Toasties, maybe? Anyway, it's a little square, biscuit, as they like to call them. And they basically wanted to get people to buy their product. And everyone knows it. They all know it's out there. It's on the shelf. And how can you create any kind of a buzz for a product that everybody grew up with and there's nothing new to say about it? And he shared 3 different commercials that they ran that just skyrocketed that classic cereal to the top for a while. It's really brilliant. Anyway, I'll put a link down in the doobly-doo for anybody who's interested in seeing that video. And anyway, I encourage you to check this guy out. I found videos of this guy speaking for probably 10 different years of engagements, and there is some replicating of the message or some of the examples, but there's always enough new content in every one that has made it worth watching. So, kind of like us here, where we had those 3 minutes of unique content today.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been meaning to watch that. You sent it to Voxer, which means it defaults to my phone, and I hate watching YouTube on my phone because I can't speed it up. Not well. I hate YouTube's fast forward. For me on my phone, and maybe I'm the only one with this experience, when I watch a video and fast forward on my phone, the audio sounds like it's in a tunnel. It always messes with the audio, and it's just terrible. I've talked about it before. I'll mention it again. Probably one of my top 2 or top 3 favorite plugins, apps is called Video Speed Controller. It is a Google Chrome plugin, and it allows, with the use of hotkeys, for me, S and D, to incrementally increase or decrease the speed of any video on any website, with like a 2% failure. Talking Facebook, you want to watch the video on Facebook and speed it up? You can. YouTube, you can. Vimeo, you can. Washington Post, you can. And with the hotkeys, you can get as fast as you want, and it will speed up the video and the audio in tenth of a second increments, or
but
tenth
not
of
choppy.
a percentage, and not choppy, and doesn't screw with the audio. And so there are many videos where I'll alternate back and forth between, like, I'll speed it up and then speed it down as the video is going, based off of maybe who's talking or something. And some videos I'll watch in 3.5 times fast forward. At this point, I settle in around 2.5 to 3 times fast forward. It is so great. And then it doesn't mess up the audio. So that's why I haven't watched it, is because I would watch it in 3 times fast forward on my computer, and just been lazy to get it from Voxer on my phone to my desktop.
Do you find that on a tablet, does the native speed controls on an iPad give you that same experience?
I don't know. I don't ever watch YouTube on my tablet.
Okay.
I rarely do I watch YouTube on my tablet.
Okay.
Just the other day, I think it was Netflix. Just the other day, I really put my iPad's multi-use feature to good use, and had the picture-in-picture feature, and had a video playing while I was doing work in bed. Loved it. That was great.
Yeah, no, that was handy. Yeah, you can split the screen and do all that. Hey, let's talk about one more thing, and then I think I'd like to wrap this up.
Well, I've got 3 more things. So,
oh, do you?
Or 2 more things. Yes, 2 more things. So,
well, let's
3
talk
things
about
total.
Let's talk about your 2 or maybe 3
Okay.
things total.
All right. Paul Palmer wants to know, what is the pencil that you like so much? What is that brand?
It is the Graph Gear 1000 by Pentel. It is Japanese. It's got a little rubbery grip on it, little raised little dots on it, and I can extend it, and it has a really nice support tube for the lead, and then it comes out in very small little increments, so I'm not having to constantly chase the lead around. You know, some of these, the lead just drops out. And then the other thing I like about it is when I'm done using it, I press the clip here to put it in my pocket,
Right.
and that automatically retracts. So here's my speaker. All right, so I'm never putting it back in my pocket with the tip extended. So, super pencil.
And it's got a
I
pretty
bought it.
solid clip too.
I bought it on Amazon, but it wasn't available through Amazon. So it was, one of their secondary resellers who shipped it free, but it took way longer than it should have. I like it. I think we linked to it when we talked about it a couple months ago. So maybe we'll find that link for you. Super handy. And it does have an eraser built into it.
Sorry, just got a comment. George said, "Hey guys, totally off topic. I just received 3 Westbrook Dr. Grabo pipes with an orange spade on it, assumably from her great granddad. I'm brand new. Would you have any info?"
No.
George, are you looking to smoke a pipe, to learn how to get into pipe smoking? If so, there are a ton of videos on our channel, a ton of videos on the Aristocob channel, which belongs to my dad, and I'm sure anyone in the chat would be happy to give you some additional resources to learn how to smoke a pipe. If you're looking for information on those pipes in particular, those are Dr. Grabo tend to be pretty mass market pipes. You can find a lot of information with a simple Google search. But if you're looking to get into pipe smoking, welcome.
Yeah.
It's a fun hobby to have.
I have no doubt those pipes were manufactured here in North Carolina. Sparta, North Carolina is where Dr. Grabos were
Really?
manufactured forever.
There you go. There you go. It's the program that I'm using. I'm using a program called Ecamm Live. It's a Mac exclusive. Martin just asked, how do we do the pop-up of the comments? That is
Pretty
out.
cool, huh?
So the other thing I wanted the last thing I had was another app, and it's one that I suspect you will get a lot of use out of, and I'm not sure about everyone else, but anybody who is into YouTube, especially anybody who does more candid video recordings, this is something new. It's something that they have. This is something that is a new feature set that Apple has kind of opened up. Apparently, they talked about it in a recent keynote. But this app is called Double Take. Double Take, and it's a camera app. So I'll show you. I'm just going to do it this way. I'll show you here. It is a camera app, but what is unique about this is that it allows you, and this may be an iPhone exclusive. So if you have an Android, I don't know if something like this exists yet or not. But what it allows you to do is it allows you to access 2 cameras on your phone at the same time and make a simultaneous recording from those 2 cameras. And so the app allows for a picture-in-picture, it allows for a side-by-side, or it allows for taking both video recordings and then saving them as separate files. And so if you wanted to take a video where you are showing, where you're taking a video of the grandkids and also recording commentary, you can record your front-facing camera and your rear-facing camera and end up with 2 recordings that you can then splice together. Excuse me. For my phone, which has both a wide rear-facing lens and a telephoto lens, so a 1x zoom and 2x zoom, you can record both of those together in case you wanted to have a wide shot and a zoomed in shot. I think there's less utility to that than having the front facing reaction. But you know how sometimes when you're filming a video, you kind of sometimes can fumble with the camera button to flip the camera back and forth, and you might miss that one moment that you hate, that you were looking at your ugly face instead of whatever was happening in front of you. The app Double Take eliminates that. You can record from both places. I thought it was a really, really cool.
It is recording 2 separate files.
Yes. Yeah, and so when the recording is done, here I'm gonna share the phone. Yeah, that's my hand. Hello. So this is what it looks like. This is what the app looks like. So you can see here that I can select selfie and my wide shot. And whichever one is A is the one that's going to be primary. And so I'm going to go ahead and record this so I can see that I'm recording both my face and from my front facing camera and my rear facing camera. And so when I record, going to have a short recording here. You can also change different things with the color ratio and stuff. But then once that's saved, you end up with two completely separate recordings with audio and video completely independently that you can then put into your editor of choice.
Cool.
So I think, for like if you're making more shop videos, there's an opportunity where you could have your camera set up to shoot your tool and then be recording your talking head, just step behind the camera without having to change your camera and change your camera setup.
Interesting. Well, I'll get the app and play with it. I'm not sure how much I would do that. Now, I don't have my iPhone doesn't have dual cameras on the front or the back, whichever it is. But yeah, recording both front and back with the grandkids. You're right. I've been in that exact situation where I ended up clicking record and I wasn't recording the correct way. Then you end up having to hold the phone the other direction with the screen away from you, and you're not sure if you're getting what you want. So that's cool. That's cool.
Yes. So the app name, one more time, was Double Take. It is a free app. It is made by the company that makes Filmic Pro. It's a video recording app that I kind of went down a rabbit hole as my brother-in-law is getting into creating YouTube videos. I was looking for some tools that could be better than just the standard video app, and found Filmic Pro is highly recommended, and then found this Double Take as a free program, and download it, play around with it. I thought it was really neat.
So you recommended a Netflix movie to me.
Yeah. I was wondering if we were going to talk about this.
Which, within 10 minutes of you recommending it, I was watching it. I don't know if you noticed how quickly I was able to tell you, wow, that was a great movie.
Yeah, I caught that.
So I didn't expect it to have subtitles, to not be in English, but that's fine. I get into those movies anyway. And it was really good. So if you happen to be into zombie movies, but a very fast-paced movie, once the storyline gets started, it is called Train to
Busan.
Busan.
It's on Netflix. I'm not a horror movie fan. I've watched my fair share of zombie movies. What I really liked about it is the exact thing that I like about the Marvel movies, is that it's not a movie about zombies. It's a movie about people that are dealing with zombies. And so I thought it was a really good character movie of how these people would react in that circumstance. Highly, highly recommend it. I've heard a YouTuber, Philip DeFranco, recommending it for years now. Years he's recommended it, have not watched it, and took the plunge the other day and was very glad I did. Definitely worth a watch.
I totally agree. Good movie. All right, so let's wrap this up. I'm so tired of sitting with earbuds in my ears, and I get to start again tomorrow with another 7 hours of earbudage. So I'll just say thank you to everybody who hung out with us. And if you're watching the recording of this, I'm just shocked you're still here with us, but thank you for for hanging out. And
they're watching it in 8 times fast forward.
I don't know if you've noticed this, but maybe you haven't, since you're not watching YouTube videos on your iPad. What I found is when I'm watching the videos, the recordings of these sessions, the live chat on my iPad doesn't work. But on a computer, a laptop, it does work. I can go back and see the live chat. It's fun to kind of see the conversation that was taking place while we were chatting here tonight. So if you're on a tablet right now and you want to see what was being discussed in the chat, I would recommend jumping over to another device to see that, because it's kind of fun what you missed out on.
Yeah.
But thank you, everybody, for coming and hanging out. And boy, it's good evening. I enjoyed it.
Thanks. You too. Again, who do we have next week? Next week, back to
Chris
the interview format.
Chris Morgan from Morgan Pipes, and I think that you will enjoy that. So encourage you to be there.
All
All
right.
right, hey, make it a great week, guys.
Thanks,
Good to
guys.
see you, boy. Have a good night.
Have a great night.